One thing we encourage our customers of HackMyCF to do is to update the Java JVM or the version of Java that's running on your servers to the latest version. Oracle typically releases a Java security updates every quarter on Patch Tuesday. So it's something you can do to just keep your server, your ColdFusion server, your Rilo server up to date with the latest security patches. So as you can see here in a HackMyCF report, you can see the version of Java running on your server, and we'll also flag that as an issue as well, that it needs to be updated when you're not running the latest version. So people always ask me, how do you update the version of Java on your server? So I thought I would create a little video to demonstrate it. So the first thing you're going to do is go to java.oracle.com. And then you're going to select the version of Java that you want to run. So as of the ColdFusion 10 update 14 and ColdFusion 11 update 2, Java 8 is now supported, and Java 7 has been supported for a while on ColdFusion 10 and since the release of ColdFusion 11, as well as ColdFusion 9. As long as you've updated it to the latest patches, you can apply Java 7. So in this video, we'll pick Java 7, and you'll notice with this particular release, they have two Java 7 choices here: the CPU and the PSU. So the CPU is the critical patch update, and that contains the security hotfixes. The PSU contains the security hotfixes plus some additional bug fixes that are not as critical. And so what Oracle recommends is that you install the CPU version unless you are experiencing one of the bugs that they've fixed in the PSU version. And then when the next security patch comes out, all those bugs in this PSU version will also be included in the next release. So we'll pick the CPU. Now you're presented with three choices here, and you could really pick any of them. Any of them would work. There's different reasons why you might pick each. So JDK is probably the easiest one to install on Windows because it has an installer. You just click the installer. The only drawback to it is that it also includes things like the Java compiler, which you might not need. So it has some extra things that you don't necessarily need. The server JRE is a great option. However, they distribute it as a tar gzip file, which Windows doesn't have the ability to extract unless you download some sort of third-party software like 7-zip to extract it. So this is actually a good choice because it's just basically the zip file of what you need. And then you can just point your ColdFusion server to that particular path. But the only drawback is that it's not distributed as a zip, so it's a little bit cumbersome. So the JRE has the bits that you need, but the drawback to this one is that it also includes browser plugins, which you don't necessarily want to have Java installed on your web server's browsers. And also, I believe this one auto updates itself and things like that, which you might not want in a server environment. You'd want to be in control of when the JVM is updating. So for this video, we'll pick the JDK. Just accept the license. Excuse me. Now, pick x86 if you're running 32-bit server, or x64 if you're on a 64-bit. We'll run this installer. So we can disable the public JRE here, and we just need the development tools. I like to change it to a path that does not include a space in it. So like SQL and Java, JDK. Okay, so it's installed. And the next step is to tell ColdFusion to actually use it. So there's a couple ways you can do that. With ColdFusion 10 and 11, probably the easiest is just to go into your ColdFusion administrator, select the Java and JVM tab, and then you just update this virtual machine path here. So before you do that though, I always recommend you make a backup of this jvm.config file. And the reason for that is if you specify this path incorrectly, ColdFusion won't be able to start up. So I always make a backup of this jvm.config in case you want to revert to it. And you can copy it somewhere like your documents. Okay, so now I'm going to change this path to this is the path that we're going to want. I always like to use forward slashes here. There was some issues if you manually update the jvm.config file, you do need to use the forward slashes. I believe if you use the ColdFusion administrator, it doesn't make a difference, but just to be on the safe side, you can use forward slashes there. And then click Submit Changes. And for these changes to take effect, we're going to need to restart ColdFusion. Okay. Head back to our ColdFusion administrator. We're going to need to log in again because ColdFusion was restarted. Now we can see here the path is there, but a way to check it is to click on the system information, and you should see the version right here and the Java home URL. We can also go back to HackMyCF, rescan, and we see here the version is updated again, and it is not telling us that we need to update Java anymore. So that's it. That's all it takes to update the JVM on a Windows server running ColdFusion 10 or 11. That process is pretty much the same. If you're running ColdFusion 9, the approach you might want to take is to simply edit that jvm.config file with the path. You can see here if we open this up, it's really this line here that you're going to change, java.home equals, and then you specify the path to the JRE, and you're going to want to use forward slashes if you do edit this file directly. And of course, always make a backup whenever you edit this file. Okay, thank you very much. This is Pete Freitag from Foundeo Inc.